Hello NBA fans and welcome back to another video on the NBA the week that was. If you clicked on this video, I think I know why you're here. You know that James Harden has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets and you want to find out all the details about this 4-team trade and how it impacts each team and just all the factors in this trade. This trade is so complicated. I have my phone out here to read you guys the details, but oh my god, what has happened? Alright, let's get right into it. Let me first tell you guys about the details of this trade. So first, Brooklyn. They get James Harden from the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets franchise star is now part of the one of the most menacing big threes of all time, which includes Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and now James Harden. Oh my god, I'm still wrapping my head around this trade. But okay, Brooklyn has James Harden. Houston gets Victor Oladipo from the Indiana Pacers. Now, how did they get him? Well, the Brooklyn Nets. All right, first let me just tell you what the Brooklyn Nets gave up. The Brooklyn Nets have given up 4 unprotected first-round picks. 4. And 4 pick swaps. Pick swaps are, so suppose the Brooklyn Nets get the 5th pick and the Houston Rockets get the 25th pick. Brooklyn is obligated to give the Rockets the 5th pick in exchange for the 25th pick. So it's essentially just a pick swap. So the Brooklyn Nets have the Brooklyn Nets have essentially given up 8 years worth of first-round picks in order to acquire James Harden. I mean, oh my god, what is that? Okay, I'll get into that later. Let me tell you guys about the details first. Houston, they get Karis LeVert Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and Taurean Prince. These are all former Brooklyn Nets players who are now on different teams in order to get James Harden into Brooklyn. However, those 3 players, none of them are on the Rockets right now. Actually, they did get one player, Rodions Cruz. He was a former Brooklyn Nets player, is now a Houston Rocket. But Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince, and Karis LeVert, 3 former Brooklyn Nets players, are now all part of different teams. So initially, the Houston Rockets did get Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. But Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince have been traded to Cleveland in order to obtain a first-round pick that was the Bucks pick in the 2022 first-round draft, and got Dante Exum as well in Houston. And now Cleveland gets Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince in exchange. Indiana has given Victor Oladipo to the Houston Rockets, and Indiana in return gets a second-round pick and Karis LeVert, which is a big trade for the Indiana Pacers. Okay, to recap, the Brooklyn Nets have James Harden. Houston Rockets, they have Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodions Cruz, 4 first-round picks, and 4 pick swaps. The Cleveland Cavaliers have Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince, and Indiana has Karis LeVert and a second-round pick. Whew, that took me a while to say, and I'm sorry if that was confusing. You can go on Twitter, go to Hoop Central, go to Shams. They have all the details. But I tried my best to recap it there because, I mean, this just happened, 10 minutes ago. I'm still wrapping my head around this. But let me analyze it as best as I can right now and tell you guys how it impacts every team in this trade. All right, let's get right into it. So, for the Rockets, what a trade. I mean, they were going nowhere with Harden. It was clear. Harden wanted to leave. The whole team was messed up. If Chris Paul didn't tear his hamstring in Game 5 of the 2018 NBA Western Conference Finals, they would have won that ring. But because he did, ever since then, I feel they've gone on a downward trajectory, and they were going nowhere with Harden. Now, they have 8 years worth of first-round picks from the Nets. 8 years. They have a lot of their own picks traded when they acquired Chris Paul, when they acquired Russell Westbrook. But now they recuperated a lot of that, and they also get Victor Oladipo out of this. That is a bit questionable. Let me first talk about the picks. Okay. Harden, nowhere. They couldn't do anything with Harden, so they got 8 years worth of first-round picks. That guarantees them, okay, if they hit on, let's say, the first 2 years, they get great draft picks in 2021, 2022. They still have John Wall. They still have DeMarcus Cousins, Christian Wood. They can still be a contender if they get really, really good rookies. And they can consolidate all these picks they got from the Nets and trade them to get another star and go back right to as contenders. So I really feel this is an extremely smart trade for the Rockets. It was inevitable, and they got the best out of it by letting James Harden go for 8 first-round picks. But one questionable move, they got Karis LeVert. I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant for the Houston Rockets. But then they traded him to Indiana for Victor Oladipo and a second-round for Victor Oladipo, and that was just questionable to me. I feel Karis LeVert is an outstanding player. He He's underrated as a playmaker. He is already a scorer. He's long and lanky, so he could have developed into a really, really good defender. He already was a plus defender. He could have been one of the league's best. But they gave him up for Oladipo, a free agent who has been an All-NBA player and who has finally showed that he can continue playing at that All-NBA level after being out with a big injury for, I think, since February of 2018. Then he was out for the rest of the season. Finally came back to playing midway through last year and didn't even play in the bubble. But Victor Oladipo, I mean, it gives them a good player for this starting lineup that doesn't sound as bad as like people think it does. I mean, John Wall, Victor Oladipo, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, you could still make the playoffs. You're getting those first-round picks from Brooklyn. Okay, those first-round picks aren't going to be too valuable for these coming years. But once Kyrie, Harden, and KD, they retire, they leave. I mean, it's they're in their primes. They're going to be 35, 36 in the next 3-4 years. Those picks are going to be really valuable. It's the same thing that happened with the Boston Celtics when they gave up Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and they got so many first-round picks from the Brooklyn Nets, which helped them end up getting Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They're building blocks of the future. So this could very much be a similar scenario for the Brooklyn Nets, but with another team. Now it's the Houston Rockets. Now the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, I mean, I was telling my dad this. This trade is already a win for the Rockets. Their future is secure. We'll know if this is a win for the Rockets or for the Nets if in the next 3 years. If they can get 2 rings, I think 2 rings, not even 1 championship. They need 2 rings to justify this trade because they've given up 8 years of their future to get 2 or 3 years out of the primes of 3 of the best players in NBA history. Yes, they are some of the best players in NBA history, but they've given up 8 years of their future. I'm still just struggling to wrap my head around that. I think this is arguably the biggest trade in NBA history, given the magnitude of players and picks involved. But yeah, Brooklyn Nets. And not only did they give up 8 years of picks, they gave up Karis LeVert, who could have been one of their stars of the future after KD and Kyrie. Jared Allen, a really good big man. He's a starting big man in most teams. And Taurean Prince, a great 3-and-D wing for James Harden. But James Harden is James Harden. And that, oh my God, I'm just thinking about that offense. Kyrie Irving, KD, James Harden just torching teams. I mean, you double KD. Oh no, James Harden's open. You double Harden. Oh no, Kyrie's open. You double 2 of them. Well, there's 2 other players on the court. They still have Joe Harris, who is a great 3-point shooter. Still have DeAndre Jordan. That's starting lineup. Best starting lineup in the NBA. But the depth will come into question. I mean, Luau Cabarrot's there. People are forgetting Spencer Dinwiddie's out right now, but he's still a member, and that's a solid 6-man for them. So, Brooklyn, this will be a win for them if they can get 2 rings in the next 3 years. If they don't get a ring at all, and one thing I need to mention, Harden and Kyrie are some of the biggest divas in the NBA. They have they have horrible personalities for a team sport. They're egotistical. They think only they're always in their own world. Harden's just going to strip clubs. Kyrie's just talking about the flat earth, doing whatever. He's just in his own world. I feel kind of bad for KD. I mean, he's a bit of a normal guy, and he himself has had his issues with being a team player in the past. So it's all about this team buying in, realizing we're not going to be the alpha dogs on our team anymore. We're going to be 3 co-alphas, but we're going to get a championship if we can work together. And that's what Brooklyn needs to do. That's what Steve Nash needs to do as a coach. Really make sure that even if they lose games right now, like the next 5-10 games, they win only 3 of them, they can still make the playoffs. I mean, they're going to go on a big streak. It's the talent of the team. Steve Nash just needs to make sure that he gets a game plan where they all don't feel too left out, but they all realize that they're working toward one common goal, which is getting a ring. Now let's talk about the 2 relatively minor teams involved. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they gave up 1 first-round pick that went to the Rockets, which was a Milwaukee Bucks 2022 first-round pick, which won't be too valuable. Giannis is re-signed. Chris Middleton's still there. They're going to be a playoff team in 2022. So it's going to be it's not going to be a lottery pick. So they didn't give up too much. And they got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince is a great 3-and-D wing. He's going to fit well with Garland and Sexton. He's the type of guy who would fit on any team because 3-and-D guys, as I've said in many videos, are invaluable to any team. Allen is a questionable trade. I mean, he's a great young big man, but they already have Drummond. They already have Nance. They already have McGee. Why do they need so many big bodies? I mean, now they're the best big men, some of the best big men in the NBA, but do they really need them? So, interesting trade from the Cavs' point of view. I think they got a good player back in Prince, and it just proves that Cavs feel strongly about the guys they have. Garland, Sexton. They're hoping to keep Drummond, it looks like. But Allen could be seen as like a contingency plan if Drummond resigns somewhere else. But if he resigns with the Cavs, I mean, the Cavs are looking like a playoff team. And now the Pacers. What a move by the Pacers. They get a second-round pick and Karis LeVert out of this while giving up Victor Oladipo. As I said about LeVert, he's a player for the future. He's going to be a top 25 player in this league. I'm already saying it. Mark my words. He has the physicality, he has the mentality, and he has the skills. He has all the steps needed. He has everything needed to be a star in this league. And they gave up Victor Oladipo, a guy who's going to be a free agent who might continue to be shaky because his injury was quite a bad one. It's tough to recover from those. He's looking good so far, but for the future, the Pacers get a guy to pair with Sabonis for the future. I mean, I'm really shocked that Indiana somehow got themselves involved in this trade and ended up with Karis LeVert. So I think that the Rockets and the Pacers are instant winners. The Cavaliers, neither here or there. It's really it's not crucial. It's not like a, oh my god, league-changing trade for the Cavs. And the Nets, the team that's the biggest team in this trade, it's going to pay off for them in 3 years if they can get 2 rings. So yeah, that's the trade. I'll tell you guys one more time what all the details are. So let me find them real quick. I'm sorry. Okay. Rockets, they get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum from the Cavaliers. That's another guy they gave up. Rodions Caruso, the guy from the Brooklyn Nets. 3 Brooklyn first-rounders, a Milwaukee first-rounder from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and 4 Brooklyn first-round pick swaps. The Nets, James Harden. The Pacers get Karis LeVert and a second-round pick, and the Cavs get Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. Yeah, the NBA is going crazy. COVID is happening. The biggest trade in NBA history is happening. What a day for the NBA. Let's see how it all goes down and which team ends up being the biggest winner from this trade. That's all I have for you guys right now. I'll catch you guys on my next video. Thank you.